Hello there. Welcome to iPad Pros. How you doing, Matt?
I'm doing great. Happy to be here. Our post WWDC tradition.
Yes. We like to come on and give our hot reactions. This is seconds after it has wrapped up at WWDC, and this was a big one.
This was a big one. This is not one we get every year. You get one or two of these a decade, right? Brand new Apple platform.
Yeah, new platform, and some really exciting things in this. So we're gonna go kind of event order, because otherwise I think we could just spend the entire time chatting about the last announcement, perhaps.
Yes.
But we got some good things here. So so welcome, Matt. A better computer and all that good stuff. People know who you are, I hope. So it kicked off with the Mac, believe it or not. And we got some new Macs, and they did what I was thinking. The 15-inch MacBook Air is a thing. I was impressed with the price at $12.99. They dropped the price of the standard to $10.99, so almost at where it needs to be at the $9.99. That was very exciting to begin with.
Yeah, that was great. I think the most exciting thing for me was the price point.
Like it's a price I could recommend people. It's like, oh, but just get that.
Yeah, they said $12.99, and I was like, hold on, that's really close to the 13-inch, and then they dropped the 13-inch down. So I think, I mean, $9.99 would be perfect, but or $10.99, especially when you buy it on sale at Best Buy or something.
It's $100 more than the old price point, right?
Yeah, so it's really not that bad, and it's a great computer. And they said it's the best 15-inch laptop you can buy, which is very perfect.
Better than their other MacBook. Do they? Oh, they have a 13.3-inch MacBook Pro.
They have the 13, 14, and 16-inch Pros, but no 15-inch Pro. So this one can still be the best.
I wonder if that's part of the reason they made this 15 inches.
I laughed out loud when they said that, because I was like, oh, it's perfect.
No SD card slot. Kind of bummed, but I guess that makes sense. I guess for what this is.
No, it looks like a great computer. Again,
18-hour battery life.
Knocking the cheaper one down is great. 18-hour battery is good. They said 12 times faster than the last Intel-based.
I love their comparison to Intel. It's like the fastest Intel iMacs. Like,
they enjoy those.
Yeah, that's great. I roll my eyes every time they compare to Intel Macs. Then the other big thing they did, they updated the M2, the Studio with M2 Ultras, and showed off what the M2 Ultra chip is. Any notes there, except for it's exciting to see this product updated that I think a lot of people love.
Yeah, no, it's great to see it updated. Like, there were rumors within the past few months that this product was a one and done. It's going to be another iMac Pro, where it was just a stopgap. It wasn't really going to be here for the long haul, but it gets updated with the new processors right in line. They didn't skip a generation, and it looks great. I mean, this is the computer that most high-end users need. Like, absolutely. The Mac Pro is super high-end, and like, people bought it because there wasn't another Mac like that. But like, the Mac Studio is ridiculous, and you can get it spec'd out very much like a Mac Studio, or you can get a Mac Studio spec'd out very much like a Mac Pro, just without the expansion. So yeah, I mean, this seems like the beefy desktop going forward.
Yes.
And the Mac Pro is even more niche than it used to be.
Yeah, and I love it's kind of a spiritual successor to the 2013 Mac Pro and the Mac Cube, and I love those computers. They're just like little tiny workhorses.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And the SD card slot, you mentioned that in the Air. It is in the Studio. I'm absolutely here for the redemption arc of the SD card slot, which they should never have gotten rid of. But now whenever I see it on the front of the Studio, you only get a few inputs, and the SD card slot is there, so that just makes me very, very happy.
What doesn't have an SD card slot is the Mac Pro. So if you wanted SD card slot, stay at the. So I kind of thought they might do this. Everyone was saying like they're going to wait till end of the year, but Mac Pro is such low volumes that they can be producing these things. No one's going to have a bloody idea it's actually being in production. It's not going to be leaked. So you can order the new Mac Pro with Apple Silicon and have it next week, I believe.
Yeah, super, super quick. I wasn't really expecting the MacBook Air. It made sense, but I wasn't expecting the Mac Pro available. But yeah, same body, I think, same case, exactly.
Same size. It's not smaller, is it?
Yeah, I don't. It looked like exactly the same thing,
Okay.
just with new I/O
Which is
on the
probably
back.
part of the
Really.
reason they could make this in secret.
Yep, exactly. So looks great. I think the RAM limitation is still going to be a thing for a few people. I think it goes to 192 gigabytes now.
Yeah, and you have to buy it all at the beginning.
Yeah, you have to buy it all at the beginning, but like the old Intel Mac Pro could go up to 1.5 terabytes, I believe, of RAM.
Okay. So in
But
like
again,
a decade, they'll be there, right?
yeah, but these are like again super edge cases, but
and it's all it's
yeah,
unified, so it's like faster memory or something. I don't know. They're
it's
sharing
available
how...
to the GPU, which is great.
Yeah.
So all that RAM is available to the GPU if you need it. Yeah,
it's got more Thunderbolt slots or ports than the old one did, I believe.
Yeah,
and the big difference between this and the Studio is you get PCI slots, the 4th generation. You
yes,
get 6 of those.
Yeah, and so they mentioned a whole bunch of things you could expand, but no GPUs were mentioned. So I don't think that's going to be a thing.
Okay, I wonder if you put an SD card slot as one of the slots. Do that for
maybe.
Right?
It seems a wild use of a PCI Express.
Right. Let's get some
why not?
Put 4 SD card slots in a PCI Express card. Yeah, why not? Oh gosh.
But yeah, what did you think of the Macs overall? Like, are you tempted by any of these, or is it just kind of nice to see them complete the transition?
It's very nice to see them complete this. As you know, I have a 2011 MacBook Air that I pull up from time to time, but I'm not tempted yet. I mean, the OS seems to be getting cooler and cooler, as we'll talk about in a bit. But I mean, the headset, as we'll talk about at the end, makes it kind of compelling to be a Mac owner. I kind of wish some of the things we'll talk about pertain to the iPad, where you could have the iPad as part of the Reality or the Vision Pro setup. But so that could be compelling as well. But yeah, it's just exciting to see this move forward. And who knows? One day I may end up with a Mac, but I'm still happy with iPad. And maybe my next computer will be the headset, as you know, it is a computer now.
Yeah, maybe.
Because yeah. So that's it for hardware on the Mac side, right? Yeah, and $6,000 that thing, the Mac Pro.
Starting at $6,000. Yeah.
So that's a delta 4,000 up from the Studio, which starts at $2,000. Is that right?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Although
that's quite a big jump.
It's a big jump, but the Pro,
that's the Max chip, right?
It gets the Ultra chip only.
Yeah.
So yeah,
right.
I don't know if those are up on Apple's site yet to price out, but
yeah,
they must, because you can pre-order today, right?
For the Express card slots. There you go. Yeah, are you tempted by any of these Macs? I'm not sure. What are you rocking these days?
No, personally, no. I have an M1 Pro MacBook Pro 14-inch. I'm perfectly happy with it. Like, I got it almost 2 years ago now, so I got it soon after it was new. The SD card slot is honestly my favorite feature of it. It still has a great screen. It's still plenty of power for me. So the MacBook Air, it's cool that it's there. And then I just don't have any interest in a dedicated desktop computer. So
gotcha.
Although I do have a Mac Mini, but that's a different situation.
Okay.
That's just a file server, basically.
Yeah.
It's just a very fast file server.
Yeah. My only feature of a Mac, I think, would be a Studio or a Mini as some kind of server that I hook into the iPad. But yeah, saving money for a headset now. So that'll be, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So iOS 17 was the first OS they unveiled. And as with all of these OSs, there's shared features across the board. You know, communication was a big thing. They mentioned these cards, these posters you can share across, which seems kind of nifty.
I think those are actually kind of great.
Yeah.
I'm really, really happy about that. I'm a little curious how they're going to work. I guess they'll just...
On Android, they'll just come... They won't show
yeah, on Android, they're not going to work, obviously.
No.
But I do actually like having some control over what people see when I call them.
Absolutely.
2 times a year that I call people. But yeah, I think they look great. And obviously they are building off the lock screen customization.
And a couple years ago, they added the profile pictures within iMessage. So it seems like it's kind of like piggybacking
yeah,
that
you're right.
Too.
Yeah, so I don't know how that integrates, but I'm just waiting for the developer site to update so I can install that and find out.
And yeah, that'll work in FaceTime. That'll work across FaceTime and phone calls, Skype, whatever. In FaceTime, you now leave video messages, or I wonder that imagine you could leave an audio voicemail as well if you're doing an audio FaceTime, which seems awesome. That seems like no-brainer.
Yeah, that seems great. Like I hope that you can just like it'd be great if you could just default to that to send a video FaceTime,
Yeah.
voice voicemail, just like leave someone a fun little message they can watch once or whatever.
Yeah, and I wonder if with
Yeah.
the like saving those, if there will be some way to like put that in a journal. They did have a
maybe.
journal app that could be interesting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I thought that was great. And along the voicemail line, I really, really got excited about live voicemail, being able to see the transcript of the voicemail as it's being left. Like I said, I call someone like twice a year. I pick up the phone like twice. If it's not my mom, like I'm not picking up the phone.
Yeah.
So it is cool, but every once in a while you're like, is this the call that I might be getting? And then so being able to see the message and being like, hey, we're calling about this appointment you have tomorrow, and like, oh, and then you can pick up. Like that's
and like
I think
some
that's
bank
awesome.
calls you want to pick up, but others are like, I don't need to talk to this right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that's a really cool, just little quality of life thing. I'm sure somebody's going to be like, Android has had this for a while, but it's just a cool thing to have. I haven't seen it myself. So as soon as I saw it, it just made perfect sense, which is a great sort of feature for an operating system that's on its 17th major update.
Yep.
I mean, you're not going to reinvent the wheel. So these quality of life things are really great.
Touches. Yeah, iMessage got they Sherlock what's the app that you could drop in stickers and stuff.
You're right. I don't know what it's called, but yeah.
But that app is now Sherlock. You can now create your own live sticker, even live stickers with live photos, which is cool. Replying in line seems more elegant. There's that catch up button, and search is a lot better. So just a lot of little tweaks. The catch up, check in with sharing, which is nice.
Mm-hmm. Audio message transcription was cool.
Yes.
The check-in feature, is really, really awesome. Because you're like, oh, I'll text you when I get home or whatever. But you forget or whatever. And so it's really cool to just have it automatically take care of that for you. And if you're not making progress, like it'll say like, hey, are you okay? And if you're not okay, then it gives the person you told some information. So it's all pretty rad.
Yeah, I think a lot of nervous parents will appreciate this one.
Yes,
and other uses, of course.
Yeah, of course.
And then AirDrop seems just some nice improvements. You can swap numbers, kind of like you could with the Palm Pre's by tapping your phones together.
Yep, the Palm Pre, the most ahead of its time.
Yep. Finally got that over.
Mm-hmm.
And you can continue airdropping over the internet, which is cool. So that's kind of nifty if you have some big files you're trying to move.
Oh, is that what they were saying? Okay.
Yeah, so you can start a big airdrop locally, and then if you keep walking outside, jumps in, cellular will keep that airdrop session going in the background and just transfer it automatically to the internet. Which
gotcha. Okay,
I'm not sure how often I'll use that, but it seems nifty.
No, it is definitely nice, especially for those big files. I honestly, I walked out of the room to get my lunch. And I missed what they said there, so I didn't really follow the whole AirDrop thing. But yeah, that's cool. That's rad.
Yeah, and better dictation and autocorrect. We'll see if they finally nailed autocorrect.
Hey, they called out. You no longer have to say ducking if you don't.
That was hilarious. He knew exactly what he was doing because everyone does this. Well, not everyone, but a lot of people are trying to express something.
Yep. And I think this was, I don't know if this was the first mention, but it was the first one I wrote down in my notes. They mentioned they're using transformers for the predictive text and like figuring out what you're trying to say. They didn't say AI.
They never said AI once.
They never did. This was one of my guesses going into WWDC is they would not say AI once, but they'd have these features that obviously use all the machine learning stuff.
Right.
And AI, which again is a weird, we shouldn't be using AI for any of these terms, but whatever, it's the term of the day. They had a ton of features that intelligently figure out what you're going to say, all these little things, but it's not just a chatbot. So it was cool to see. Hopefully it works. That's hopefully. It's like the one thing that like so many people seem to agree is that autocorrect on iPhones has just gotten worse over the years. Like
I often accidentally type in like a name of some shortcut because it thinks I want to autocorrect to a name of a shortcut.
Oh,
it's like once a day. I had this long shortcut name I got to just delete because it's just like I don't know what there's and it's only one of my shortcuts that this shows up for. It happens all the time.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, mine likes to when I type Mario, it likes to put its capital M, capital A, capital everything.
Yeah,
and it will not remember that I don't never ever want to do that. Like So I think one of the issues they had is that when they rolled out this new version of autocorrect a couple years ago, it was using like everybody's information to like try to figure things out. And this one sounds like it's more local just for you.
Right.
So I have high hopes.
I do too. Hopefully it's good. Yeah. And then as we mentioned, the journal is here for iPhone. Do we really have to wait a year for the iPad version of the journal? I guess we do. They didn't.
It wouldn't be an update without a year of waiting for the iPad.
Because I don't want to be journaling on my iPhone. I want a keyboard with my iPad.
No, you just do it with little thumbs.
Yeah, that seems very peaceful. Yeah, I guess. And then if it's on the Apple, you could just write with your Apple Pencil. Very peaceful, cathartic.
Of course.
That'll be next year though.
Yeah.
But this journal seems cool. Suggestions of what you've been doing. You can pull in different trips or memories from photos. Seems smart. Yeah, I don't know. I think I'll try to use this. I think it could be helpful.
Yeah, it seems kind of like they did the Breathe app in the Apple Watch years ago, and now it's the Focus app. And so they like doing these little kind of things. Like, it's not the number one feature of iOS or watchOS for that one, but it's a nice little thing. And yeah, I'll give it a shot. I don't expect I'll stick with it, but it definitely could be cool.
Yeah, and then standby mode. They didn't do the thing we were all hoping they do of landscape home screens to use your iPhone entirely in landscape like you used to in the 6 Plus.
6 Plus days, yep.
Yeah, but they did introduce always on display and I believe active displays when it's sideways on the lock screen to have these widgets. And they did the thing I love of recognizing red light when you're sleeping is better, so that'll turn the red at night. Lovely. That looks cool.
It looks great. I need to get a new bedside charger now. To try it out. But yeah, it looks great.
They call that the desk mode, where you're at your desk and you'd have widgets there, which makes sense.
Ooh, yeah, that's actually a good place too. Yeah, but it looks good. I'm a big fan of the Nest Home Hub, which is like Google's speaker / screen you put in your kitchen or whatever. I love it. It's great. So having like something like that in the iOS ecosystem is good to see.
Again, baffling. There's no standby for iPad where you have this in the kitchen with an iPad standby, which is by default in landscape. But
that's true.
Next year, right?
Next year.
Because this isn't only always on displays. I'd imagine it'll use active displays if it's turned on.
Yeah, I do wonder about that, because for the iPhone 14
Pro is the only single phone that would support this, so it's got to do active displays.
Yeah,
I imagine.
But would you want? I feel like you wouldn't want your other iPhones to be on.
If it's on a charger, why not?
Yeah, burn-in, I guess, potentially.
Yeah.
If you're having
I don't
it
know
on.
if that's an issue anymore. I'm not sure. I don't know how display tech has come.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah, I'm curious how this is implemented. And then you can say Siri instead of Hey Siri. So
which is great, because sometimes I just kind of mumble the hey part and it doesn't catch me. So that'll be good.
We have a dog named Sierra, and it constantly Sierra and Siri are mixed up by my computers, and I wonder if this will be more accurate since they feel confident with the single word. We'll see.
I hope so. Yeah. I mean, my dog is named Sherman, and we call him Shermy sometimes. So it's like, hey, Shermy, come here. And then the speakers go crazy.
It was funny in the high Sierra days, just saying the OS name sometimes would set off that trigger for me. Yep. So that was the thing back in the day. Yeah. Anything else on iOS? I think that's everything. iOS especially is always the one where you kind of have to find the page on Apple's site that has every single feature listed, and just dig through it, because there's going to be some goodies in there that are really great and you're going to love, but aren't keynote worthy. So definitely looking forward to seeing that. Would have looked at it, but we recorded 5 minutes. Yeah, the webpage was not yet updated when I was looking, so I'm just going based on what they shared.
Gotcha. Yeah.
And then they jumped to iPadOS 17. Custom lock screens make their way over.
1 year later.
1 year later, they've got a bunch more widget space, which is nice. These little what do you call them? Complications for
the complication widgets.
Yeah, complication widgets. Seems great. The amount you can put on there. Live activities seem like plenty of space there. It seems like they did this in a way where your wallpaper will be more beautiful because you're not compromising on the phone. You can choose pretty picture or widgets, not both. And the iPad looks like you get both because of where they place the widgets.
Yeah, and it looks like, I think I noticed new sizes. I wonder if those will be automatic. There's a taller widget that you can put that with a list. Interactive widgets, I think, I forget if you said, but interactive widgets are finally a thing, which is
finally
awesome.
a thing. I'm sure they're on iPhone as well. But yeah, you could have your iPad, lock screen just be all these interactive widgets and never leave the home screen and be working with lots of different apps. That seems awesome. This is more.
It is definitely awesome. I actually recently, if you can still access the old widgets that used to exist on this the slide over screen next to your home screen, and I recently started using that for my Things 3 widget.
Yeah,
and it's so nice to just check off tasks without going into the app. So fully endorse this.
I wonder if they'll finally nix those old interactive widgets now that you can do this. And I also wonder, can James Thompson build a calculator again? That's a widget.
Yeah, What are the limits?
Yeah, it seems like it was more than I thought they'd allow with interactivity, but I'm not sure what those boundaries are. Yeah. Apple seemed to push this that you can fully interact with stuff.
But are they just buttons that do a thing? I mark the task complete, I run the shortcut, or are they, I'm going to hit the button and a different part of the widget is going to light up and show my total or whatever? I don't know.
But that was, I think, a huge thing, especially for iPad. And then they did mention some improvements to Stage Manager, and I need to play with this to see what this ramifications are. More sizing options of the windows, which I really hope you can get really tiny and kind of more free form with where you're placed. So I'm curious how far that extends.
It's all about the details on Stage Manager. In theory, and if I'm sure if you rewind to our discussion last year after the keynote, we were both super high on Stage Manager. This is it. This is what we've been waiting for.
They nailed it.
And in theory, yes, but there's a lot of details, and those are some paper cuts that annoy some people more than other people. But I'm really, really hoping that I can it feels more natural to use. My biggest criticism of Stage Manager, I think, is that because it tries to be so clever, and when you move a window, it moves another one, and when you resize it, it only does these it feels like 5 different sizes they can be, and it's just let me organize them how I want. Trust me to do what I need to do. I'm really hoping when they say more sizing options, they really mean any size you want.
Just I want Mac window resizing, basically.
Even if it's a toggle, leave it off by default, put the toggle in Control Center when you enable Stage Manager. I don't care. I'll flip it once and just be happy.
So we'll see the details on that one. And then you can use external cameras on displays come on. So you can fully use your Apple Studio display with the iPad now. Great and awesome. I hope this means you could hook up an external webcam and just use that as well. I'm not so sure on that. I'm not sure if it has to go through a video feed as well, if it recognizes your display. I don't know.
I would hope so. But they didn't say it explicitly, so
they did not.
You shouldn't assume necessarily.
No. So I'm curious how that's implemented, and if you need to use an external display along with the camera built into that display.
I mean, I'm really hoping you can just go to the Settings app and choose your video source.
Choose your camera.
Again,
no audio settings at all for another year for that one. But having an external video camera, it seems like they're moving towards that direction.
It's progress. Absolutely. So
no clamshell mode.
No, they didn't mention it.
They didn't mention it. It could be in there.
It's maybe not keynote worthy, but
I gotta say, the end of the OS screens were very light this year. There weren't as many goodies I could see overall.
Well, those were the rumors, right? These were relatively minor updates since we have another.
But if if the windows are much better as far as resizing, that seems like a substantial improvement to quality of life. And then the external camera, that's a big deal for a lot of people that use it in that configuration. So interactive widgets, those are so some nice things overall with this. But
Yeah, I think this is just it's kind of just a side note, but a thing that I've been thinking about more is like these operating systems are really old at this point.
Yes.
Like iOS is not the new operating; it's 17 years old.
17, yeah.
Like Mac OS was, I think the stable original build I think was 2001. So iOS came out when Mac OS was 6.
Yeah. Yep.
Like if iOS
2004 was Tiger.
Yeah.
2005 I think was
Leopard.
That's when they started doing the yearlies, I thought. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But like iOS is 17 years old, Mac OS is 22 years old. They're not that far apart.
They really are. It feels like it.
We don't expect the Mac to fundamentally change every year. So
no.
We kind of, I don't know. I feel like people get they're like, oh, what a minor update. And it's like, yes, it's a very, very mature operating system.
Yeah.
So that's why the stuff like the visual voicemail is like super exciting to me, because that's a very tangible thing. Like that's going to make my day to day a little better.
Yeah.
I don't need them to revamp the entire operating system. That's probably not what they need to do. And what they're going to do is they're going to make a whole new platform like Vision OS. But we'll get there. We'll get there.
Yeah. Yeah. And they mentioned some stuff with collaboration and PDF, annotation being kind of fully baked in. So apps like PDF experts will be less necessary for a lot of people.
Yeah. There's a minor Sherlocking there as well. I thought it was really cool. Again, they didn't say AI, but they did say ML. Like if you have a PDF that has fields on it, they'll turn them into text fields and let you enter things and autofill if it's like address or whatever. So yeah, really cool little things there.
The collaboration seems super neat with the pencil and the Notes app, which I don't use for PDFs, but that seems neat.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was very nice. I will say, just as a real world use case, is I work in the payments industry, and there's definitely some PDFs that you sometimes deal with in the payments space because it's old and creaky in a lot of places, and it is such a pain getting normal people to figure out how to fill out a PDF. And so anything that helps them do that is super great in my book.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's.
I wonder if that's on the Mac as well. Or is that only on iOS and iPad OS?
I imagine it's across the board, but yeah, who knows?
You would think so. We'll find out.
So. Yeah, widgets made a reappearance on the Mac Sonoma, which clever eyes would have seen. They were checking the weather in Sonoma and all that before this announced. So that was.
Did they?
Yeah, you could. Yeah, it's like, why is Sonoma? Okay,
interesting.
That's today.
They're very clever.
Yeah. So Sonoma has widgets on the desktop in a very elegant way that like dims when you're using an app. I'm curious how this looks when you have files intermixed with these widgets. We'll have to have some messy desktop users.
Yeah,
this is like.
Are they on your desktop or are they on top of your desktop? Because like I'm thinking back to the old widgets. I forgot.
Dashboard.
Yeah, dashboard, and then there was a third-party one that did it before that they originally Sherlocked, but like Yahoo Confabulator.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's an app called Confabulator that had widgets on your desktop. Then Apple did Dashboard, which moved them to like that separate screen that zoomed in and out.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm glad. I love widgets. I have them on my home screen on my iPhone and my iPad. I literally never use them on the Mac because they're out of sight, out of mind.
Right.
So.
And you pull in iPhone and I think even iPad widgets on the same network.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. And it does kind of help get more widgets there because you don't use as many apps on the Mac, right? On the Mac, you're doing a lot more in the web. I'm not using Apollo, which I thought it was very fun. They called that Apollo.
Was awesome. Yeah.
Like obviously couldn't have been planned. Like they didn't add that in the last like 2 days, but it was really cool to see Apollo get a shout out when Reddit's like.
That was nice. Yeah.
So that was a minor cheer in your living room moment.
Yes. And Safari's got cool things with like profiles. I hope Mac and iPad. And I think that would work. Profile and I think passwords. Oh, passwords. Family sharing of passwords, Matt. It's here. We don't have passwords app yet, I don't think, but we can share stuff with family members.
That's good. That's huge. Awesome. That's one of my core reasons I use 1Password. So it's good to see Apple getting closer.
Yeah. And then there's the screensaver thing seems neat. So there's like screensavers, kind of like the Apple TV ones. And when you wake up your computer, it like pauses on that moment as your desktop image. That seems really smart. I don't know who uses screensavers on a Mac anymore, but that seems neat.
Yeah, there's a third-party app that lets you set the Apple TV screensavers as your
Yes.
screensavers. They're
Hmm.
huge. It's like
Yeah.
each one of them is like 500 to megabytes to a gig or something.
Yeah.
But they're very, very cool. And I used to use them on my work computer. The computer has to lock after like 5 minutes
Okay.
of doing nothing. So I actually do use a screensaver there rather than have it
Keep
go
it
like
active.
totally to sleep. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's super cool. And like when you're like, oh, they brought the Apple TV things kind of to the Mac. That's very nice, very cool to see. And then, like you said, when they logged in and it just pauses, kind of like right there, I was like, they went the extra mile. They did good.
Yeah, that's cool. And a game mode prioritizes the CPU and GPU for gaming. I love that they were showcasing the $200 DualSense like Pro Elite thing that just came out. That I don't know why you as a Mac user would be using this, but why not? You have one. Excellent. I'm tempted by that, but not yet.
It's really not. It's really not worth it, but it's nice.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the Q Lite as my next controller purchase, the little remote play device. And better like double sampling of Bluetooth radios for controllers. I wonder if the iPad will get that same ability. That seems like something you could do on the iPad.
Sure, it's just a polling rate, so yeah, you totally could.
And then some games are coming. They didn't mention No Man's Sky, I don't think, or maybe it was on that splash screen. They showed off Village, one of your favorite games. Kojima's Death Stranding, which we both love. I was cried multiple times during that experience. That's coming to the Mac. So another chance for you to play that.
It's a chance for me to play it a third time. Yep, played it on PS5, then PC, and now I'll play it again on the Mac. But yeah, that was honestly, I love Hideo Kojima. I don't know if Apple fans who don't pay that much attention to gaming understand how weird he is.
Yeah, and that game especially is it's weird.
I cannot wait to see the reviews. I cannot wait to see the people
PC
who
already, I believe, right?
Yeah, it's been on PC for a year, 2 years, I think.
Okay, and it's coming to the Mac App Store.
Coming to the Mac App Store, presumably coming to Steam as well. Hopefully, I can just get it for free on Steam, but we'll see. I know that's how No Man's Sky worked. So No Man's Sky released on the Mac App Store this past week, and then it's also just on Steam. So you just update your game on Steam, and suddenly there's a Mac version.
Yeah, it seems like this stuff could run on iPad M1 and 2s. Not announced. That would be
not announced. I think No Man's Sky, I think last year they announced was coming to the iPad as well, but it's not out yet.
They said it's not now or something. We'll see.
Oh, okay. Well,
I saw a story in 95 Mac or something that said they canceled that. So we'll see. It's interesting, this whole gaming push, and they said Kojima said this is not the last. And
yeah, he said we're trying to bring all of our future games to the Mac as well.
He's working on other gaming, but
yeah. So it's if you bet all your money on Apple, finally, this is the time they're getting into Mac gaming, you'd be broke. But it never works out. But it's encouraging. Kojima is a real substantial force in the gaming space, and Death Stranding is a real game. Again, it came out in 2019, and so 4 years afterwards is the classic Mac mantra for gaming. But
this was a Sony exclusive, so it first had that exclusivity window, then PC, and then a year later Mac, right? So
the thing I'm curious about is their tools for migrating games over. They talked a big talk about making it easier, and that's another one of the challenges of bringing things to the Mac. There's no DirectX, there's no Vulkan for their graphics APIs. We only have Metal on the Mac. I think technically OpenGL maybe still works, but no games are really made in OpenGL anymore. So if it's easier to migrate the games and there's more people on the Mac, it's better than ever, maybe, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah. Any other Mac stuff?
I think that was it. Those are the big things. The game, Hideo Kojima is really where I just was like, oh, hello.
He's reported being on campus earlier in the week. It's like, oh, he's actually in the presentation here.
Yeah. That I saw that news article and I was like, don't get too excited. He's probably not part of the thing. He's probably just he's a famous person going to meet a famous person or something.
Yes.
But it was definitely cool to see him
said
there.
1994 was when he got his first Mac. Is that right?
Oh, I didn't hear that detail. Maybe.
He said he got his first Mac. I think is it 1994, 2004. I wonder what his first Mac was. We could probably deduce that based on
94. Ooh, 94. Probably not.
That would have been a rough year to get a Mac. That was during the dark days.
Yeah, my first Mac was in 1995, and it was a Performa, and it was not good in retrospect.
Yeah. AirPods had a special segment that's gaining adaptive audio, which dynamically adjusts to your environment. So, if you're having a conversation, it'll know you're talking. If you're having a phone call, adapt to different settings there. Kind of blends transparency with noise cancellation, which seems like like we already have adaptive transparency mode on the new AirPods Pro. So it's like a step further, which will fully block out and do it just seems smarter. Yeah.
Well, yeah, because the current adaptive transparency mode was like, we'll boost everything, but if you're walking by a jackhammer, we won't boost the jackhammer that much.
Right, yeah.
This seems more like combination. We're going to cancel out noise, but if someone's talking to you, we'll let that in. And then they also had the smart volume feature. So like we'll figure out what volume you like your stuff at, and we'll try to make it that based on your surroundings and everything. It sounds pretty cool.
Right.
Like
it seems like more what I want. Yeah.
Yeah. It seems like their goal is you shouldn't have to change the volume. You shouldn't have to change modes. Just pop them in and it'll sound like you want. So we'll see how it goes. That's definitely a cool, smart new feature.
Definitely.
That's just coming to existing AirPods. I'm not sure which models, but presumably at least the new Pros. And I wonder about the AirPod Gen 3s, how much of this they can get.
They just mentioned the Pros. They really did. So I don't know.
Oh, did they? Okay. Well.
Yeah. And presumably just the newest Pros, because maybe not. Maybe it's everything. But who knows what the... Yeah. WatchOS 10 was very pumped for this one, because like there was some big talk on this one, and we got a lot of what was rumored. We got the widgets. Just scroll, instead of doing the time travel thing, you can have all your widgets there, which seems like a cool place for them, and seems like some interesting uses there as far as getting your data. It wasn't as big of a redesign as I thought they might do this time around, though.
Yeah, agreed. It sounds like a lot of the changes are in the apps themselves, and they showed a couple of them. They showed like the fitness app has new views when you're scrolling around your data, and it's got like the buttons around the corners of the screen.
It felt like apps were watch faces almost. You have the complications on the corners and the content in the middle. A little bit like a watch face within an app.
Yeah, which is good. I mean, that lets you put more things on screen to tap and move around and stuff. So definitely into it. I feel like we need to play with that one and see what's actually there to appreciate it. But I think it looked good. There were some rumors going in that the apps would be more tuned to the large Apple Watch Ultra face.
No mention of that.
No mention of it. But again, are these? We kind of got to see the apps and see what they do.
Yeah, install it on the bigger watch and see what happens.
Yeah, the first Apple Watch, you can install a beta and not really worry about the terrible battery life you get from it for the first few days.
True. That's
You'll
true.
Probably still get through a day.
Yeah, they mentioned some smarter compass things where, like last time you had cell signal, or last time you could make an SOS call. That
very
cool.
Very smart.
Topography. Apple Maps on the iPhone can download offline maps. Imagine, hopefully, the watch could do that as well.
Hopefully, yep. I know that's a big one people want. Yeah, especially if you go on a hike or whatever. Like, you still get GPS, but if you didn't load that map before you left, and by load that map, I mean you just looked at it and didn't. I don't know. It's great to be able to download them. I'm going on a hike in like 4 days where I might be out of cell phone service, so this is actually great. I'll be able to test it out.
Yeah.
So it's cool, and yeah, the thing where like, hey, this is the point where you lost cell service. That's actually fantastic. That's so nice.
We got a Snoopy watch face. That seemed delightful.
It does actually seem delightful. We got live activities for some workouts.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right.
So
And they go over to the iPhone.
yep. So when you're biking, you can do a live activity and then expand it to full screen, which makes sense because you mount your phone like on your bike on your handlebars,
Sure.
and you can see your stats without. I don't bike that often, but when I have, like, it has been kind of annoying to, like, because you're shaking and you're like going fast and you're trying to read on your watch, and it's not super easy. So it's cool
Yeah.
to see that on the phone. I really would like to see that for all activities. Maybe it is there, but it seemed like they had a pretty clear use case for it on the
Yeah.
bike. So
Yep.
yeah.
No custom watch faces yet again. We have a palette watch face. Those are the only 2 new ones we know about. But who knows? In September they may add 20 new ones.
I wouldn't worry about that. Every September for a couple of years now, they've just had a deluge of them
Yes.
at the Apple Watch announcement
Yeah,
event.
and there's a new mood tracking in the mindfulness app. They're doing a lot with mental health. We'll submit like a report to your doctor kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
All important things.
All important things. Not the spiciest things, but nice to have built in.
So my favorite thing they did, and it's kind of interesting. So they directly before Vision Pro, they introduced something, a company actually admitting that you can, myopia control, and like especially with kids, about being outside and screen distance. And these are very real things. I know we've chatted offline. I've been working on my eyesight for many years now. I have an outdoor job now. So over those many years, I've been working on reducing from around negative 5.75. And I'm at the point where when I'm outdoor in sunlight, where I really don't need glasses, night times when I need them right now. But so there are ways of like, through stimulus, encouraging our eyeball to shrink and like shorten its length and stuff. Much easier to just prevent it because it's a pain in the butt to try to do this because it's a lot of work and most people probably don't have the patience for it. But so one of the factors they mentioned was screen distance, which is huge, especially for kids with short arms. So basically, what happens here is if you look at something really up close, there's a muscle called the ciliary muscle, and it spasms when it's too up close. It's a very tight muscle when it's up close for extended time. So it tightens up, and that means you can't then adjust that muscle to see in the distance when you look away. So if you're constantly on a phone and you don't have enough breaks when you're outside looking in distance, it never has time to fully relax so you can see at distance, resulting when you go to the eye doctor where it's still locked up, for them to give you glasses to fix that accommodation, and your eye then adapts over time to be longer to be able to see, and then you need new glasses until you reach a certain point of where it's reached its kind of set point of you're at this point, and that's where your glasses are set to. So I think it's super important. We're telling you scoot back from that iPad or phone because it's way too close and it's going to cause that muscle to spasm. And then being outside, natural light, very good. Seeing the distance, very good. So using your watch to like track outdoor time, that seems super smart to kind of like, oh, you were inside all day and you should go outside some more. So two very important things. Pitched for kids, but I think adults can also use that distance stuff so you're not using your phone super close. And even with kids, like it's like use the iPad at distance if you're watching something, and put on the bed even outside of arm length, because some kids have super short arms, so it's still for some kids probably too close. But I thought this was super interesting as the direct thing before Vision Pro, where you're putting a screen inches from your eyes, where could cause some myopia, and perhaps there might be technology in the future where Apple could have applications to help you work on vision stuff with different stimulus through apps, and then as a company being aware of myopia and some of the causes of it is very encouraging as they're getting into a headset which could have ramifications there. So that's my little rant and my excitement with them recognizing this, because I don't think many other companies have recognized this as a thing. Any thoughts, Matt?
My only thing I would add is I was watching this part with my wife, and she was like, "Oh, you're solving the problem you created. Excellent."
Yes. Yep.
She's like, before they announced the feature, they were just talking about like too much screen time, and she's like, okay, what are they going to announce? Like, just throw away your phone, like,
right? Yep.
But no, it's a good thing. Obviously, we vision is a thing you don't want to screw up, and you're doing your thing. I last year, almost a year ago, got LASIK.
Yeah.
Just very happy with it. Continues to be
Absolutely.
maybe the best decision I've ever made. Very, very happy that I did that. But yeah, if these little things can help people get more just better vision for longer, that's great.
Yeah, and I think some parents just like, this isn't something we're not really taught. Kind of go to the eye doctor, and they just tell you need glasses. Like they don't tell you things that like, oh, when you're 5 years old and you're going to the eye doctor, oh, you don't put them glasses right away. Here's some things you can work on, and let's see if we can get them off that track. You just kind of follow the eye doctor's advice, and Apple, like, I think instructing parents, like, these are some things that may be contributing to bad, because I don't think a lot of parents know this stuff. They're just like, give the iPad to the kid to shut them up, either crying or whatever, and like, I
have no idea. I know
it's a parenting advice, and
when I was a kid, my parents definitely told me to sit further away from the TV because it would hurt my vision. So I've been getting this message for many years, but who knows?
It's interesting because I had that same thing as I had the TV thing, like, sit further back in the Nintendo or whatever. But it feels like that's kind of gone away as like devices are more prevalent, and but who knows? Some parents, I'm sure, know about this stuff. But but I thought that was just I don't know, that made me smile as the direct thing before the headsets. Like, so it makes me curious how they'll address this stuff, or if they will in the future with different potential things for the headset, and with eye health, and then being into eye health, I think is very important, as the devices do contribute for sure. And I watched the whole thing in my PSVR 2. I haven't mentioned that, but I did watch the whole presentation for the headset, and your eyes do get 2 hours in there. Like, you notice it when you get out of it a little bit. It's like, oh, I need some distance time. So next up,
I think that's it. That's the end of the keynote, right?
What's that?
No, that's the end of the keynote. They didn't talk about anything else after that, right?
Nothing else at all. At all.
It's a tight 60 minutes.
Tight 60 minutes. Then they're done. I've been going in Mac Rumors order. They kind of skipped over tvOS, which got a call out.
tvOS did get a call out. First time in a couple of years, I think.
Different profiles and kind of interface there. AirPlay has been revamped, or hotels with AirPlay and stuff. Anything else worth noting there? I don't know.
It sounds like they've
continuity camera.
Oh yeah. So you could take FaceTime calls or other calls there. Could be nice.
Yeah, that seems actually interesting. You have there's FaceTime for Apple TV. That seems actually pretty cool, and I think some families may take advantage of that.
Yeah, it could be. I could see, especially older people who may not like holding the phone for those calls. It would be cool to let them kind of see a larger image of their relatives. Because we do we do video calls with my grandma sometimes, who's in her 90s, and she really struggles to see. They do it on an iPad, and it's really hard for her to see. So having it on a bigger screen would be great.
Yeah, and continuity camera is such a smart idea, and putting on TV seems brilliant. And Zoom and stuff. You can have apps for that as well. And you'll be able to find your Apple TV remote. There's no sound speaker on the remote, but you can use your iPhone to track its location, which is cool.
I saw them say that, and I was like, did I miss something? How is this possible? Like, is it doing like the old Bluetooth
I'm guessing
thing? Like, it's just a Bluetooth signal strength, I guess. Yeah. It's something.
Probably.
It's good.
I don't know. They should update it with the chip. They should get that chip in there.
Yeah, they should figure out a way to do it. Because I mean, it's gonna say like, okay, it's in the couch somewhere. Great.
Right. But yeah, as you were hinting at, tight 60 minutes, and then they had one more thing.
They had one more thing.
One more thing.
Busted it out.
Vision Pro. That's the name. Vision Pro. And I've already thought if I do start a podcast, I could call it Vision Pros, kind of like iPad Pros. Because I do love headsets, you know, as much as I hate what they can do to eyesight if you're not careful with them. I do freaking love being inside these things, especially especially for gaming. This one's it's Vision OS with Vision Pro as the introductory product. I first want to just mention that as far as gaming, it seems like for now, it's the flat screen games in a better screen and setup. It doesn't seem like the PSVR 2 where you have the controllers that are designed for gaming and these fully immersive VR games. Seems like that's not a focus at launch. Maybe developers will figure stuff out. But if they're only supporting dual senses and like standard controllers and not touch controllers or these VR controllers, I don't know how compelling hand tracking for VR games will be. Some games do require buttons as well as hand tracking, I would think. So that's I don't know what that direction will be. And the haptics and controllers are very important, I think, as far as just immersion. So I see a place for this plus PSVR 2 as like you have your gaming kind of setup, and then this is like couch gaming or whatever. That
is a slightly surprising omission because it's just play games that are available presumably on iOS and iPad OS. Play those on a big screen, virtual screen,
right?
Not very different from, like you said, the PSVR experience, which if there was a game that said it supports PlayStation VR and it was just playing the game on a big screen, you'd be like, this isn't a VR game.
No.
But it could be interesting.
Could be some new experiences with the mixed reality stuff. I think could be cool with hand tracking. It's just gonna be different games. I think from what Village and VR. I don't think will quite work in the same way it does here.
Because they didn't announce any there's no accessories for it. There's just the headset. No. And although I guess you could pair Bluetooth devices with it,
right?
Game controller, keyboard, mouse, presumably. Although what would a mouse? We'll see.
Yeah.
But maybe they'll have more to announce, but probably not. I mean, this is probably it for V1.
But people, I think, will get creative with hand tracking. Beat Saber may be there with purely hand tracking, but again, haptics when you make a correct hit really does help in gaming. So I think there'll be different games that take off here versus what's traditional.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. We'll see. It actually bums me out a little bit that we're going to rely on games with controller support that run on the iPad. Presumably is what the limitation is going to be. I don't think Mac games will work. Although that doesn't really expand it that much. But like, will you be able to play Death Stranding
through the extended display mode thing, right?
Yeah. Although now we're getting into remote PC cloud gaming in a VR device.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Which is very strange.
What excited me about this device is everything else. Like whole experience. It's a computer. So PSVR 2 is advertised as 4K, but it's really 2K per eye. This is double that, and I think this is the level you need to, it feel like you're not in some virtual thing and more real life type things. Because I was super excited for PSVR 2 with it's 4K, but even as I'm looking through, it's like, it's not quite there for like tiny text and stuff. Like it's not the Retina experience quite yet. It looks amazing, especially in a lot of games that understand what constraints they're in. But I think this is the level display tech you need for like working in this environment,
Well, that's the thing, right? Is all the things that they showed outside of the gaming stuff and movie stuff is working and text-based. And like one of the reasons that I prefer to work on a 4K non-VR display is that text is super crisp and everything on my screen is super crisp and predictable and everything. And that's always been my criticism of these other VR devices is like, you can have these digital screens, but like they're not the same. They're not going to give you that fine detail. Even if you can make them huge, it's still not quite the same experience.
And the
So
pass-through camera experience has never been amazing on other devices. I will have conversations with people in my family through my headset and black and white camera. I can, see them and it looks great. It's black and white. It's not, doesn't feel lifelike. You see them in a real enough environment, but this seems like totally just the augmented reality part of this, the just merging of both these worlds seems super good with the like transparent display thing that's like faking a transparent display. That seems nifty where they can see your eyes and stuff.
It's interesting. Yeah. I do wonder, I really want to see, I don't know how you do hands-on with this. Like, how does the Verge show you what this actually looks like in use? I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, this was all concept video. This was all pre-rendered. This wasn't actually showing the real software running for real, because how could you? But
no.
I am curious what the real experience is going to be like, because obviously what they showed looked perfect. It looked incredible. Like,
I gotta say, in PSVR 2 was a lot of fun because some of the demos, they were like, it was like, oh, this is what it looks like because this is the VR experience on my face, and they're showing the VR experience there. It's like I can kind of get a sense of what's going on here, which is
true.
But there is going to be a barrier still, even with that display in there of like you got this kids. It's not the same as like.
Yeah.
I want to know when what iPhone do we get that shoots 3D video for this headset? Because that needs to be a thing to get more 3D content to use in the headset.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. That'd be a really cool thing for the iPhone 15 this year, right? Pro maybe. I mean, the rumors are the camera's bumps getting even bigger this year, so maybe that'll be part of it. Although I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. But the 3D video, or like watching 3D video from like your like you have your kids or whatever, that was a compelling use case to me. The like watching movies.
Finally, we're going to have Avatar 2 in 3D 4K, and I cannot be more excited for that experience, Matt.
I'm pretty excited for that too.
Yeah.
The movie watching experience is definitely one. Like, that was one of the use cases where I was like, okay, this makes sense. It's a thing that you do at home. You're sitting on the couch, like you might be watching alone. It's not like an interactive experience with like other people. So make it so that I can watch, like, even if you have like a 55, 65, 75 inch TV, it's still much smaller than what you would get from like a movie theater experience.
Totally.
And so being able to do that, again, as long as it is actually high quality video, you're able to watch.
It's 4K per eye. So I think the fabric on the back, and they show people laying in bed. Like, I think the make of this is going to be so lightweight, you could actually be laying in bed and it would be comfortable, hopefully.
Yeah.
The 2-hour battery means that you want to be plugged in for Avatar, so you don't have to change batteries midstream.
Yeah, you'll probably have to get up in the middle anyway, but
true.
It's a long one.
And then there's speakers built into this as well. They never showed anyone in AirPods. They just have speakers next to your ear, kind of thing.
Yeah, I was a little curious how those work. Like, does everyone around you get to hear as well, or are they more like not bone conduction or anything, like, but like how
very directional? I imagine they hear something. It can't be entirely.
Yeah, you would think so. It seems, and it sounds like they've done some work to make it really feel like the sounds you're hearing are in the space with you, which is cool. I mean, I assume having AirPods in would be a better experience. So
I would think
what people do with it when they can.
Yeah, and then you can do FaceTime calls, and there's like a face scanning thing to give you like a digital version of your face that looked pretty compelling. I want to know how good that is.
I thought it looked
I don't know. What
pretty awful. I thought it looked haunting.
Yeah, like a ghost of.
I was like, oh
yourself.
No, this is the demo that they're showing. That's it looks okay, but it was definitely Uncanny Valley to me. Like, it wasn't capturing emotion. It felt like a weird Avatar situation. It'd be kind of nice if you could like swap in your emoji for it instead of
that might be an
high-res
option.
thing.
I think this will work
Yeah.
better in a big group where you're on like a 10-person team call and you're a smaller
Yeah,
window,
maybe
you know?
that would work. I'm thinking like, yeah, like you wouldn't want to give a presentation when you're like taking the focus of the meeting and going full
Right.
screen necessarily, but yeah, there could be something there, and it'll surely get better over time. But I saw that and I kind of like recoiled a little bit. I was like, oh no, that looks strange.
Yeah. And then they did early in the keynote announce, like on Zoom and stuff, getting your video out in like presenter mode. That seemed neat.
Yeah, that was the thing. Like for video calls, they spent some time on that, which is good. And they're like, we're showing like the other people who are just on normal webcams. They're going to be in these little boxes in your space. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. So like as the headset wearer, I think that's awesome. I think being able to see people in your space more and not like metaversey, like what Facebook's doing with their Quest like meeting software, but like kind of embracing that, yes, this is camera footage. These aren't like real people, and just putting them in your space, I think is like your real world space is pretty good. I'm just a little weirded out what I'm going to look like to other people. But we'll see.
And then Disney was the first partner, and earlier in the presentation they had Avatar 2, which is a Disney property. They never announced if iTunes will add 3D movies as a purchase option, or if this will just be content in Disney Plus and no way to actually own it. That's unclear.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good question. I was kind of assuming that because I bought Avatar 2, and I was kind of hoping they would just kind of auto upgrade to.
That'd be it might be both, And I know Disney Plus has like the IMAX mode as well, which. Yeah, IMAX 3D head mode. I want to watch Avatar 2 once this headset comes out in this thing. That seems like a good old time.
Yeah, that was honestly the best use case. I
mean, if this thing takes off, this will be the revival of 3D movies. I think we had our dead era, and I think that might be coming back. Who knows?
We'll see. 3D movies are the tech that will not go away, but will not quite succeed every time.
Yeah, the Disney stuff seemed interesting with like watching Star Wars on Tatooine, National Geographic tour, and like Disney World on your tabletop, and like they had some interesting ideas. I'm curious how the Disney stuff all plays out.
Yeah, like what they showed was clearly not what the software is actually going to be.
No.
Like I was like, this is the most CG like software. This is like Microsoft-esque with like, here's how our software works. And then you get the real thing and it's like, this isn't that great. So I'm curious what the real experience will be like, but like, yeah, like you said, like watching a movie in like a movie environment, like in a Disney themed kind of environment, like you said, Tatooine or Pandora, whatever you want to do.
Yeah,
like that's cool. That's definitely cool. If you're going to sit there and watch a big screen, and why not give yourself this just different experience that you couldn't get.
And I like the ability to make the screen kind of as big as you want it to be. So if you wanted more like you're in front of just a screen, it looks like you can pretty much do that. And the little digital crown to like immersion level, have some of my world in here or none of it, and be in different environments. That seems cool. Just digital crown that kind of going in and out. And as people walk in the room, it's smart enough to like put them in this digital world, so you're not oblivious to that fact. So there were a lot of like just smart things about that. I love the construction of this. So there's like 3 pieces, and there's like a fabric backband so it's easily swappable with like the eye mask for light blocking, the band in the back, and the front where all the smarts are. So you could have like an exercise band, so you're not getting your work band all sweaty and disgusting. You might be able to wash the band and like,
probably
clean it. Yeah.
Third party bands will surely be a thing.
Yeah. So that seems smart, because a lot of headsets, it's kind of just one piece, and you got to clean it and try not to get it too disgusting.
It's like watch bands, Apple Watch bands too.
Exactly. So yeah, there'll be a myriad of options with the bands here, the headbands and stuff. So that's cool. And they're partnering with Zeiss for magnetic adapters for people that do need glasses, which seemed very smart. I've had magnetic inserts for PSVR 1, and then 2, it's not magnetic, but the same concept of putting it over the thing.
Okay.
Really works great. I'm curious on pricing on that. Yeah, I'm always curious. Yeah, and yeah, I don't know. Because like some headsets, I need more adapters than others, and with them being 4K per eye, well, I need slightly less because it's actually clearer than my PSVR 2. I'll have to experiment with like what do I want in there.
Yeah, that's I hadn't thought about the price of that, but yeah, it's not going to be nothing.
Yeah, and I'm curious on the focal distance if it's going to be comparable to traditional VR or with the augmented, if it's any different as far as like, because I'm curious because I play around with adapters a lot, especially in VR because different applications need different things. So
gotcha.
So that'll be curious to just see what that's like, and I'm sure third parties will be in the market as well for this.
It definitely sounds like a thing where they expect you to go into the store to buy it.
Yeah, try it on like the Apple Watch bands back in the day.
Like we're going to help you get the right size, because even like if your vision is perfect, you're still going to need to like get the right sized
the distance between the eyeballs, which I think you could probably auto adjust. Like PSVR 2 has a little dial to change the distance. I wonder if there will be a OS level way in software to adjust that, perhaps.
Yeah, for that, and then I don't know what these pieces are called. It's so weird to have an Apple product where I don't know like what all the things are called yet.
Yeah, like the lenses separate and move in or out. I was kind of surprised they didn't. Maybe to keep cost down, they did this, but some VR headsets have diopters built into the lenses, and you can adjust it within the hardware itself, so you don't need external things to go over. Maybe one day they'll add that as an option, because there's optic recognition. Imagine like Face ID, but they for eyeball tracking. Imagine if you had multiple users in the house and it recognized, oh, this person's logging in, let me set to this diopter, and then a different login sets to a different diopter. But perhaps it's like iPad and they'll never have user accounts.
Just buy 2 of them.
Yes, clearly. M2 chip in this thing paired with an R1.
Yeah, those M2 chips are versatile. Yes. iPads, Macs, headsets.
Right.
They do it all.
And there'll be its own app store within this thing. And we haven't really talked about the interface. So you're kind of like, it's augmented. You have different like screens, virtual screens in front of you, and you're kind of like using your hands, and they can be at your sides in a relaxed position, just tracking you ambiently, combined with voice and eye tracking, which eye tracking works really well in PSVR 2. Some games are entirely controlled with it. Can take a bit to get a hang of because you have to like, you are looking at the thing you want to select. So like, but combination with finger tracking and stuff, I think this will be a nice natural interface to this device. You mentioned earlier keyboards and trackpads you can use when you're working, which is nice.
Yeah, I'm curious because they showed it looked like the interactions were basically you can look around and then to like select things and like click and drag in this world is a pinch. The pinch is like the gesture that it's looking for. And again, because it's got cameras all around, you could just have your arms at your side, it seems like, and just pinch. And where you're looking is where it'll move things to, or where it will pinch. So it seems pretty low density or like low accuracy stuff. Like, so scrolling through a website, sure. But like doing things in apps seems tricky unless you have a mouse and keyboard at least.
They didn't mention Apple Pencil. Like, how cool would it be if you look down at your desk and be drawing on something with Apple Pencil or some other kind of device like that?
Yeah, that's true. Like, look down at your desk and now your desk is a screen too, sort of thing.
Right. Yeah, they didn't mention anything like that. They mentioned a virtual keyboard, which you can kind of type virtually, which would be good for quick sessions. I want a real one for extended.
Yeah. But yeah, all the like windows, the interfaces you're looking at, those are all vertical in the space. And it can be resized and everything. And God, I don't know if they ever showed more than 4 windows at a time, so it might be the same stage manager issue.
They mentioned iPhone and iPad apps can be in here as well. And then the Mac can be extended through Bluetooth is how it connected, I believe.
I think so, yeah. So you could
probably Wi-Fi as well in there.
Use it as an extended display, and it had a giant display there.
And it turned off the Mac display when it did that, at least in the demo.
Okay.
Not having both, which is interesting that they did that. Yeah.
So what do you want to? So looking at all these demos, what are the things that like stood out to you? I'm curious, as like use cases that would make you want to get
movies,
this thing.
Obviously, 3D especially. It's, I mean, it seems like it could be an alternative to iPad and just working on a computer in a different context.
Yeah.
And like, you do get a ton of real estate screen space wise. So it's like you're sitting at the kitchen table and you have a lot of room to work in. I mean, I don't know if Ferret will come to this thing, what that experience would be like editing the podcast in the headset.
Interesting. Yeah.
Like, I don't know. Could it take over from a lot of iPad usage to headset usage with the right apps there? The keyboard and trackpad being directly attached to the headset is appealing because you could take out the bag, your trackpad, your keyboard, and you have a little computer there, which that seems super appealing as far as that stuff. I don't know.
Okay. It is kind of one of those weird things. Like I think I am more skeptical of VR than you are in general.
Yeah.
I'm more skeptical of this device than I'm sure some people are.
Right.
But I am drawn to it, I guess, just because it's an Apple thing.
Yeah.
Like
the fidelity seems high enough, right, to be working in.
That's the thing, right?
I don't know about iStream. Like I know I get iStream at least being in the headset. I could not wear it all day. Not a thing.
Yeah. It was funny when they were like, and it has all day. What did they didn't say battery life?
2-hour battery, or plug it in all day.
Yeah, they're like, you can use it all day when it's plugged in. Like, of course.
Yeah.
But yeah, 2 hours of battery, which again, like you said, is okay. I know I was talking to someone right before the event, and they're like, I can't play VR games for more than 30 minutes. Otherwise, I just feel bad. So I definitely understand you're probably not going to use this all day. I don't know. I saw the guy they showed like in the office, like just walking around with his headset on, and I was like,
it seems super goofy to do that.
Everyone would be making fun of him.
It'll take I don't know how long it'll take for that to be normalized, like AirPods.
Yeah,
this is a bigger step forward.
This is a bigger step than AirPods, but
like the screen in the headset that's transparent looking, it's not super bright. You can see the eyes, but it's kind of dimmed.
Yeah, that's like still the thing for me is like for these like individual, like I'm just on my own doing something, like watching a movie, playing a game. I totally get it. And it makes sense. Or like, even if like I'm at the office, I'm at my desk, I'm working, I have the headset on, I can get behind that. I can understand that. It's really but as soon as like someone else is in the room with you, I don't know how you keep that thing on. I feel like you
like
need
the
to take
demo
it off.
Playing with your kids with the headset on to capture 3D video.
That was the most cringy thing I saw. Yeah. You should be, I mean, like, obviously, like, we've gotten used to, like, seeing people with their phones everywhere, but, like, people have had cameras forever, and, like, you're still in the space. I feel like there's something different about having something actually covering, even if they can see, like, your fake eyes.
Right.
I feel like there's something very strange about that.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. And, like, obviously, if you can get just, like, normal glasses and people can see you and like everything, that's much less awkward. It's not awkward.
Yeah, we're decades from that though.
But we're so far away from that. So, you have to ship something eventually to get to there, right? You can't just like do it in the lab for 30 years. Like you have to release things. You have to see what people do with them. You have to see what works, what doesn't. But yeah, that's the thing for me is like, if I buy one of these things and it's priced to really be exclusive, but like if I were to buy one of these things next year when they come out, like I'm watching movies on it. I watch a movie every Saturday morning, basically when I can. I would absolutely try to watch those in this. I would play some games if I can. I would do some maybe work in it. It depends how like clear the screens are, but I could see
because you use a Mac for work, so this could be it'd extend what you're doing there. Like,
Well,
yeah.
I wouldn't be. It's a personal computer, so I wouldn't be able to use it for work. But I could use it for like my personal stuff.
Right. And it's interesting, like the reality or the Vision OS apps live side by side with the iOS apps and the Mac app. Like it's a cohesive environment for all.
Yeah. So, and like Final Cut Pro just came out for the iPad, which presumably will run on this. And like I'm curious how that's going to work. Like, I don't know.
Right.
That's another thing. Like, it seems like it will run. I would think it would.
It's like dragging and dropping files. Like how does?
Yeah, because like I can do a mouse and keyboard with it, but like that version of the app really expects you to touch it. So like mouse and keyboard can work, but it really works better if you can touch as well and use the Apple Pencil when you want to.
Dude, the Files app, like, or is your whole documents there? I'd imagine there is the Files app. They didn't show that.
They didn't show it. I don't know.
It's got to be there though. If you're working on this thing, you need your Files app or Finder equivalent.
We'll see. It took them years to bring a Files app to iPad and iPhone.
Yeah.
After years of being like, you don't need that anymore. So maybe they'll do that again this time.
Right.
So this was definitely a teaser. This definitely wasn't the full product. Like we can't see all the details. It's kind of more like their vision of what it is, and like it is the real hardware. Like they showed us the real hardware, which is great.
Impressive,
but like
what it is.
It will be interesting to see some of these details kind of fleshed out over the next 6 to 8 months or whatever it takes for them to ship this thing, because we don't know, and it's a weird feeling.
It's like, very weird.
You show me an iPad.
$34.99. The rumor was $3,000, and I thought, oh, that's like the iPad rumor of it being more expensive than it actually is.
I was hoping $2,500. I was hoping to be a little less. But
I was thinking even $2,000. It's like $2,000 that that blow us all away.
Yeah,
but it was a little bit more.
It's a little more.
And Apple's into the like pay 2 years for a product. I wonder what the monthly will be on this if you're on the Apple Pay slowly over time program will be.
Yeah, it's only $146 a month.
A month, right? I mean, yeah, they get me with that stuff because like I can stomach that. So I'm curious what that price will be.
Yeah, and starting at, like, what does that mean? Starting at, like, we think the prescription lenses will boost it up.
You have different
local storage, headbands. Like, will there be a sport model and a edition model?
Right. I imagine there will be exercise bands for this thing.
Yeah. Is this a new like part of the store where like the Apple Watch band page is like 500 feet long? Is there going to be like a similar thing for here?
They did not announce Fitness Plus in this thing, which is surprising.
Yeah, no fitness at all that at least that I remember seeing.
No.
It seemed very focused.
It did.
Whereas like the Apple Watch announcement way back in 2014 was very much like, here's everything that like a phone does, and now you're doing it on your watch. This was much more. I don't think we ever saw more than like 10 apps on screen,
right?
Like in that grid of icons that they had.
Yeah.
They also had new icons for like some things. I think the photos had a different icon. I was kind of hoping some of that would come over to iOS, but it doesn't look like it.
Yeah, maybe next iOS 18.
Maybe there's definitely some. We didn't really talk about this, but there's definitely some like glassy neon colors. Not weird, just a new kind of like art style that they're using for some things in all these updates. That is pretty exciting to move away from just the flat white and primary colors they've been using for a long time.
Yeah. And you can like set the distance the apps are from you. So it's like, I want that further away. I mean, the spatial stuff is like, it looks like it's in the room, like with you, like that. They nailed that part. Like they were really good. I think.
Like it casts shadows on your real world.
Reacts to lighting in the room.
It's cool.
It is. It's a wow. It's a wow your socks kind of demo of what it can do. But it's and I could see me working on it when I'm working in solitude down in the basement or whatever, or watching a movie by myself or whatever. Airplane, all that stuff. It seems pretty portable as far as the size, much smaller than any headset I've owned.
The size, I was actually happy with the size. Like obviously I want it to be like just the glasses you put on your face, but the size looks pretty good, like a lot flatter to your face than the other options that are out there today.
Yeah, what else? There's LiDAR and all sorts of crazy stuff with that.
A million sensors and everything.
Million sensors, yeah.
Yeah. I think another just thing that like made me happy as like an Apple Watch fan is, again, when they announced the Apple Watch, like they were like, there's all these inventions. There's the mouse, there was touch, and now there's the digital crown.
They didn't mention
And
the digital crown in the
to it, yeah, the digital crown is on every Apple product now. The
it is.
AirPods have
during this
them.
introduction as a breakthrough
Mhm.
interaction.
So
I thought that
like,
was funny.
like apps, like the digital crown's everywhere now, and like, yeah, you can definitely see the move, like the design from Apple Watch to AirPods Max to this. Like it's a very straight line in terms of like them developing their design style.
Yeah.
It's definitely the more modern, more comfortable, cozy Apple design instead of like just the metal Macs and iPhones and stuff. So
yeah,
I dig it. I think given the tech that's available today, it seems like they knocked it out of the park in terms of like hardware.
Yeah. And I love the whole thing about dimming the lights around you, like artificially. Like within the headset, you can dim the lights and still be in the room. And like the cameras have it so like it's just like you can see popcorn where it is. It's not like I'm looking under the headset. Like it's just so like it's natural. I don't know, as far as like doing everything with that. Yeah. Yeah. I know the FaceTime stuff seemed I don't know. Everything seemed just like I don't know, it seemed great. I don't know how long that charging cord will be. Like if I want to plug it in power, they didn't show that off really.
True. It looked like a very fancy cable though.
It did.
They just,
and how much those extra battery packs will be, because you'll want to, I'd imagine.
Oh boy. I mean, when you're talking about a $3,500 device, I'm assuming the accessories are going to be pretty pricey.
Yeah.
But you're in for $3,500, so what's another $300 for a cable, you know?
Right.
It's like the studio display. You're spending $6,000 on a display. Can you not afford $1,000 more for a stand? Come on.
Yeah. I was surprised they announced the price actually, but I guess do it after the wow moment, and if it's early next year, that gives people a year to figure out how to save up for it.
Yeah, I forget what podcast I was listening to. It was ATP or Connected or one of those two, and someone was like, "Just say the price now. It's going to be high. It's going to be too much." But people know it in June. By next January, March, April, whenever it actually comes out, you've had time to process it. You've had time to legitimize it or justify it to yourself.
Yes.
You've had time to save up. Like, it makes it more palatable. So tell people the price now. And then I'm sure Meta's going to have like a thing that's like, you could buy 10 of ours for the price of theirs.
Yeah.
Or 7 of our Quest 3.
Yeah.
Which, fair enough.
You can, but just a radically different experience.
Yeah. So, all right, do you think you're going to get one?
I mean, yeah. Oh, man. I really, I definitely want one. And I don't know. Well, my family, probably not. I don't know. How hard do I have to pitch this on a valid expense?
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
And when's it going to come down to like not a crazy number?
Yeah.
Right?
The rumors were they'd have a Gen 2 that has the Pro and the regular model that isn't crazy expensive. But I think I'm always going to want the crazy expensive version of this. I don't want the slim down one that's not quite good enough. I don't know.
It's just when the numbers are this high, it's just wild though. Cause like, okay, the non-Pro is a third the price. Okay, it's still $1,200. It's still more expensive than your laptop.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
It'd be an iPad range at $1,200.
Yeah, but iPad Pro.
iPad Pro range,
where most people buy the $400
That's
iPad.
True. Yeah, man. The Optic ID thing seemed very neat. Like they have all sorts of ID things. I wonder if that would ever come to different devices. I mean, it makes sense here.
Yeah, that was really cool. I wonder how you authenticate, because you have to like look directly at Face ID for it to authenticate. You have to like wink at Optic ID to like authorize a purchase.
Oh man, yeah,
because you're like always looking at it, right? So it's just going to authenticate immediately. Yeah. But yeah, super cool product, super cool. I don't know how practical it is.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know if I'm going to get one. I mean, history dictates I will buy it because it's a new Apple thing. But like you said, that's a very big number.
Yeah, the thing it's pitched as like a computer. Like this could be a replacement for a Mac in many, if the apps are there. That's the thing. Like you need the Mac to use the Mac apps if the app library isn't there. Otherwise, you'll have the iPad issue. People saying you can't work on iPad because the apps aren't there. As an iPad guy, I could probably work on this alone if a lot of my iPad apps make their way over. Sounds like they could.
It's just it's kind of like it definitely seems like a future forward device because, like you said, the Mac apps aren't there, so it's not on its own a Mac replacement.
No,
the iPad apps will be there, but you can't touch them. And you can use an iPad without touch, but like you really like to have touch sometimes on an iPad. It makes the experience better. So like
an Apple Pencil. I want to be able to. I want that demo of looking down at my desk and having paper I'm interacting with. That needs to be there. It seems like it could be there. This thing doesn't seem super heavy. That's an issue. Looking down at a lot of VR headsets is it's heavy and you're losing where it should be on your head.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Seems like it's super lightweight where you could actually be looking down at your desk and be working with digital paper, which that seems neat.
Now, I don't know if I'm again, we just watched the video, so I haven't had a chance to go back and see it again, but at no point did they touch anything in the environment, do they?
Well, they resize windows.
By
touching it, I think, in some distance. Like
that wasn't looking at the window at the corner and then like pinching like at a random spot.
Yeah,
because I was curious.
That's the hard. There's a virtual keyboard you're tapping on.
Okay, so maybe.
Yeah,
because I was like, what's the fidelity? Like, how can it tell where your finger? Can it track where your finger is in 3D space and know that you're tapping the Photos app, for example?
Right.
And
if you have paper on your desk, how do you put your hand over it and have it still look good? Yeah, I don't know. That stuff's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
And like there's no haptics. Like so as you're interacting with stuff, the only feedback you get is visually and maybe auditory.
Probably auditory too,
yeah. It's kind of, I would have thought they would have had HD taptics in the headset itself for like some kind of feedback that doesn't seem to be there.
Maybe that'll be a 3rd gen Apple Pencil. It'll work with iPads and it'll work in...
maybe they'll have a glove. I don't know if they'd ever do this, a haptic glove you can wear for
like a power glove
keyboard. Exactly. Yeah. Oh man. I'm excited. I'm curious about all these developer sessions and then revealing more about this. See what developers do, especially gaming wise, if we'll get some decent VR games out of this. But yeah, and if it would support the Sense controllers, could it support VR video game controllers? It could. It has, because the cameras do all the tracking. It could do that if Sony. I don't know if Sony has to allow that support to happen.
Yeah, I'm sure they do, because I know there's like the modding community on the PC is working hard to make those work with Windows.
Yeah,
because
they partner with them for the DualSense. So I do wonder.
It could happen.
Yeah, it could.
Maybe that's a Gen 2 thing. Maybe Gen 1 is just this, and then Gen 2 is, hey, here's this new headset, and we have new inputs.
Yeah, maybe you could even buy the controllers aftermarket for the first gen. Yeah, anything else on the headset itself?
I look forward to justifying this to my family as well next year.
Yeah. Yes.
It feels like I have to have it. And I'm skeptical of it, but I'm also, this could be where we're going. So
yeah.
And if Apple does not have a long history of releasing products, especially at this scale, and not delivering on them and updating them and being right that this is where we're going. Like smartwatches were a thing. Wireless headphones were a thing. Smartphones were a thing. The iPad is probably the closest they've gone to like, this actually wasn't the next big thing, but like the iPad's super successful as well. So like
it is. Yeah.
Yeah. So
this is the next big computing platform. Like it feels like, will the apps be there to, yeah.
I think the State of the Union is going on right now as we speak. So I wonder how that's going.
Yeah, Overcast was an icon during the on stage thing. I forget in what context, if that was CarPlay or what that was.
Okay.
That was just a fun thing. I'm sure Marco was very happy to see his icon there.
Yeah. I bet that's like an incredible moment.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm super excited. I don't know how does this magically just show up on the doorstep one day and it's like, what's that?
Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
I changed the password to the bank account as well. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Do I get a new job to justify me working at home with this device? Yeah. Some little tidbits, Mac rumors that have come out since the show ended. 70-watt USB-C power adapter is now available for the 15-inch MacBook Air. You can also buy it. Cool.
Okay.
And the new Mac Pro features upgradable SSD. Apple sells 2 terabytes, 4 terabytes, and 8 terabyte SSD kits. So that's cool. So it's no longer buy it up front for the Mac Pro, at least. You can pop these in and upgrade storage.
Okay. Well, that's good to hear. I've definitely had people tell me it's physically impossible to upgrade the hard drive in Apple Silicon. So it's good to know it's the least possible.
Yep.
I'd love to see that on the laptop, but yeah.
Yeah. The first betas of all the OSs are now out, it would appear.
Okay, I've been refreshing this entire time, waiting for them to come up.
And people are now. It looks like they're just able to see the physical headset and not wear it at the moment. That's what it looks like to me.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know if some journalists will have some kind of hands-on demo thing, but we'll see.
Yeah, I hope so. I would love to see some people
using it
and explain how they feel about it, like how for the first impressions.
Yeah. And the digital crown. There's also a way to like tighten the back of the band as well, which is kind of cool. Kind of like other headsets do that.
Yeah,
but
that's right.
Yeah, should be a fun summer with all the OS updates. I'm excited to play around with those once the public betas hit, because I got booted off of the free developer betas. I'm excited for the Vision Pro. This is it. Interesting name for sure.
I dig it. I think the name is good.
Apple Vision Pro. Yeah, I kind of like it. And then you'll have just Apple Vision for the cheap, 1000 version in a couple of years.
The cheap one.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Start saving up early next year. My guess is April. That's like, I think when the Apple Watch launched and all that.
It was. So I bet.
And the iPad was April, I believe, as well. Yeah. So
yeah.
Cool. Well, I think that'll do it for this kind of just initial overview and reactions to what Apple shared. Thank you for your time, Matt. This has been a lot of fun. I always love doing these kind of just like
me too
excitement chats afterwards.
Yeah, it's great. After this, I get to leave my bubble. I have no idea what people online said. Maybe they love it. Maybe they hate it. But this is a great kind of just way for me to share my thoughts before I get the influence of anyone else. And then we'll see how it is.
Yeah, I got to decompress before I get interrogated by people that aren't into the stuff as much as I am. Yes. Where can people find your excellent videos?
Yeah, you can find me on YouTube. I have a channel called A Better Computer, and I make videos about using your computer better. So talk a lot about Mac and iPad software, kind of along the productivity route. And just love doing it. And try to keep up to date with all the newest, coolest apps, and paying for the subscriptions so you don't have to see how everything works.
And we'll have to figure out how we do screen capture of Vision Pro one day, so you can do tutorials of the Vision Pro apps.
It would turn it into a business expense, so that would be actually great.
Well, thank you, Matt. Really appreciate your time.
Anytime. Let's do it again next year.
Absolutely.